Alright guys, so I've had a couple people request that I do an actual demo video of the system. I haven't done that yet, so I can actually show you the full setup and how it sounds. We'll start up front. Up front, I've got a Brand X 390 amp alternator. I'm using the GM 14.8 volt regulator that I soldered onto it. I have my 1-aught, this is actually welding wire. This is different from what I ran in the back for the charging and ground. And then right here you can see my battery is disconnected in the front. I basically just tied the charging wires together to the battery terminal so the car still gets its voltage here, and then the alternator still charges both the car and the ZV5 in the rear. Now I've just got a single fuse holder here for that one run back. That's it. Moving back to the head unit, I've got an 80 PRS. For the Focus, they don't make a single DIN kit for this car, so I bought a double DIN dash kit and then made my own brackets to fit the single DIN in there. That's why there's just this hole here. So you can just see, like, I've got the rest of my RCAs that I don't use, they're just in there. Okay, right here I've got my base knob / voltmeter. It's tough to see, I can't get it to pick up on camera, but basically you can just cycle through. So that's in Celsius, the amp temperature, and then Fahrenheit. So that says 65, and you can't really read it on camera. And this says it's charging at 15.3. This thing's not that accurate. It's showing 15.3. I'm not sure why. You go up to the deck and it says 14.9. I know this is not always as accurate as other, like I had a Stinger voltmeter. It was much more accurate than the 80 PRS. This one will drop down to, you know, 12.3 or something like that, but you'll actually be at like 11.2 or something crazy. That's why I don't really like going off of that, so I just more judge off of this. And this also has a clipping light, which is convenient. In the front doors, I have Scar 6.5s and tweeters. I can throw in some pictures of when I actually did the door panels, that way you can see which model they are. I don't remember them right offhand. Moving back, I've just got behind my seat, my mids and highs amp is on a piece of MDF that I just cut out and rounded over the corners. It's a Scar 75.4. It's wired, the front speakers are single voice coil, 4 ohm. I've got them wired together to 2 ohm, so this thing's putting out supposedly should be around like 125. Now back here where all the business happens, got a Limitless Cyber 6K, which I have the Limitless bus bars. They're battery terminals, but I use them as a bus bar as distribution. That's where I just feed everything off of. Got the SMD 4 fuse holder, the quad, and I actually have a terminal cup here, but I just put the sub in whenever I put everything in here for testing, and I just ran my speaker wire through the port, and I've been too lazy to pull the sub back out because, as you can see, I did a flush layer here. So in order to get the sub out, nobody really talks about this, but you know, you basically just have to use a screwdriver or something similar, at least in my case, because I can't reach my arm through the port. The port extends nearly the length of the box, so you can't just go up in there and push on the magnet. So you're just kind of screwed. You have to use a screwdriver to get the sub out. So we have Limitless Cyber 6K powering the car and the system, and then I've got it on a Defbonce Apocalypse series to AAK 4000.1. The sub is a dual 1 wired at half ohm to the AAK 4000. It never ever gets hot. The hottest I've seen this thing after beating it to death is like 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So 0 complaints out of this amplifier or the ZV5. It takes it like nothing. It doesn't even care. So I'll come back here, pop the hatch for you. The port is kind of ugly, but it's just been temporary because I like to play with the port. So all my builds, I usually use this mortar tube, cut it up. So like you can see here, this is a 4-inch section that I've added on to 26, so this makes it 30 inches. It's about 4 inches off of this wall here, so it's probably somewhere in here. That gives you some room to breathe so it can load in the inside of the enclosure, and then the rest is hanging out. And I've still got plenty of space here to load into this pocket on on the side of the car. It does pretty well. I mean, it's tearing up my hatch. This is kind of falling apart here. I've had to tighten up my spoiler and all this stuff several times, but hey, that just means you're loud. All right, so it's time for a demo. Loudest this thing plays is the driver's side door open and the passenger side window down. So let's see what we got. I mean, nothing I'm gonna play is gonna be uncopyrighted, but everything's slowed, so hopefully I can get by with it. This is all DJ Rusticles. So this is 29 hertz. So a lot of those clips you probably won't be able to see too much flex, and it's just because of the frame rate. You can kind of see the doors swinging out. They're moving, I mean, just like that, and you just can't see it because it's playing 28, 29. I mean, this thing will play down to about 24, 26 hertz. That's about as low as it wants to go, but I really don't have any more room to extend the port. I've stretched out my volume whenever I built the box as big as I could to get my port length, you know, everything working correctly and get it somewhere in the frequency I wanted it tuned to, and that's the best I could do in the space.